If you're a coach or online expert that's trying to get clients online, you're going to need automated systems to be able to do that. But let's be honest, tasks like building complex funnels or writing a bunch of email copy can be super overwhelming and extremely time consuming, especially if you're starting from scratch. Well, if that's you, then stick around because in this video, I'm going to walk you through a high-level snapshot that I built specifically for coaches who want to automate their client acquisition online without having to start from zero. The systems I'm about to walk you through have personally helped me generate over $1 million over the past 4 years. In this snapshot is the culmination of everything I've built, simplified, and optimized during that time, so I'm super excited to share it with you. So what do coaches need to grow their business? Well, they need to generate leads, they need to nurture those leads, they need to convert those leads, and then they need to deliver. So our coaching snapshot gives you all of those systems without having to build any of them yourselves. So let's jump on in and let me show you around the snapshot, and we'll start with the first step of the process, getting leads. All right, so let's kick things off by taking a look at some of the funnels that are going to help you to generate leads. Two of the most popular funnels that coaches use to generate leads and high ticket clients is the video sales letter funnel or lead magnet funnel, which we'll show you, and the webinar funnel. So we have both of those in this snapshot. So I'm going to talk about both of those real quick. So let's go through the first one. And to do that, we're going to go on the left-hand side here menu. We're going to go to sites, and now we're in funnels. So I'm going to open up the first one here, the lead magnet / VSL funnel or video sales letter funnel. And I'm going to open up all these pages, kind of walk you through how each one of these works. And then we'll also show you the workflows or the automations that go along with these funnels. All right, so the first page in the funnel is the opt-in page. So this is where we're going to collect the contact information of the person that lands on this page, and that is generating a lead for our business. All right, so you're going to have a nice headline here. You can have a picture of if you are trying to get people to opt in for a lead magnet, you can have a picture of the lead magnet here. If you're trying to get them to opt in for a video training, a video sales letter, then you can have a picture of the actual video there with like a play button that they can't click, but when they click it, the form pops up. Also, you have the button here to click and the form pops up. We collect their information and then that sends them to the next page in the funnel, which is the actual video sales letter page. This is where you'll have a short little video, could be anywhere from 5 to 15, 20 minutes, depending on the structure of your video sales letter. And basically it's just trying to convince them to jump on a call. So you can actually, once they watch the video and they're convinced to jump on a call, they can click on this button, which takes them to the book a call page. They can come on here, they can pick a day and a time, and then they fill out just a little bit of information, and then they actually book the call. And then once they've booked the call, they go to a confirmation page where you can just have a video, hey, congratulations on booking a call. Here's what to expect on the call. You can have additional trainings here and also some social proof, some testimonials down below just to build your trust and authority with this person. All right, so that is the actual funnel. Now let's talk about the workflow that goes along with this funnel. So I go back to high level and I go to automation, and then we look at the folders here. You can see we've got the folders kind of go in the step-by-step process that you would take people through in your sales process. So the first step is obviously generating the leads. We've got a few other folders up here, but this is the workflows that go along with the VSL or lead magnet funnel. And then if I click into here, this is the workflow that goes with it. And basically what this is doing is this is just delivering the lead magnet or delivering the video page to the actual person that opted in. So if it's just a video sales letter that you're trying to get people to watch, then you would use these emails in this sequence and the SMS in this sequence to drive them back to watch that video sales letter and try to get them to book a call. So that is kind of the purpose of this. If you have a lead magnet that they're opting in for, you're obviously going to deliver that lead magnet in the first couple of emails to make sure that they get it, and then also drive them back to the video to watch the video and then hopefully book a call on your calendar. So that is the video sales letter workflow in the funnel. So let's now talk about the webinar funnel. So I'm going to go back to sites, and we're now back in sites and funnels, and then we're going to click on the webinar funnel folder here, and then let me close these out up at the top here. So we got a clean browser, and then I'm going to click on the webinar funnel, and I'm going to open up these pages now. And so let me go through all of this. Open these up. All right, so the first page is just a simple landing page for a webinar. This is a proven format, a proven kind of template that works really, really well. We've booked we've gotten plenty of people to register for our webinars and book a call. So we've got a headline up here. We've got the time and date of the actual webinar. We've got the bullet points, and then we just kind of repeat the bullet points down here, and then a button where they can click. Now, the way that we have our webinars set up in this snapshot is they can register by booking an appointment on a calendar. So there's a calendar inside of the system where you would just set the day and the time for that particular webinar. And then that makes it much easier for the workflows to send reminders because it's attached to an actual time and day, okay? And I'll show you that in just a second. Now, once they actually book on that calendar, they're gonna go to the webinar confirmation page. So you can kind of use like a video sales letter here to try to get them to book a call while they wait to watch the webinar. Again, client testimonials down here. If they click this to book a call, then they're going to go to the call booking page again, just like the previous funnel. And then if they book a call, the call confirmation page. Typically, if you are using that to sell a product or a service or a new offer, then you want them to come back and watch the replay. So with your emails, your follow-up sequence, you want to make sure that you're driving them back to the webinar after the webinar is done to watch that webinar, hopefully watch the offer, and then if you're trying to get them to buy something, they can click here and go buy. If you're trying to get them to book a call, then you could just change this to book a call. So that is the funnel. Now let's go back to the automations that go with this funnel. So I'm going to go back to automation. I'm going to go to the webinar workflows here. So these are the workflows that go with the webinar. The first one here is to invite your contacts to the webinar. All right. So basically, you could either add a tag to all the contacts you want to invite, or you could just add them automatically. Just select all the people you want to add to the workflow, and then add them to the workflow. So this is going to be a series of emails that invites them to the webinar, and then once they actually register, so they come in here, they book the appointment on the calendar, then that is going to register them for the webinar. And you can see the trigger here is the webinar registration calendar is confirmed. And then you're going to basically send them reminders, a confirmation that they're actually registered, and then reminders up to the point up to 15 minutes before the actual webinar, and then sending the webinar replay after. And you could add a few more emails here if you had like a deadline that you wanted people to purchase whatever you are offering on the webinar. So that's the webinar workflows and the webinar funnel. Again, those are the two of the most popular funnels that coaches use to generate leads, get clients, book calls. So that is the two most popular, but I want to show you what I believe is, in my opinion, the very best funnel to use for coaches in 2025. Now, my favorite funnel, and the one that I would use if I was growing a brand new coaching business from scratch, is the community funnel. And honestly, this is the best funnel I've had in over 14 years as an entrepreneur. On average, we're booking about 80 calls per month using this particular funnel, and over the past 8 months, I've been able to generate over $219,000 using this funnel. And the best part about it is just how simple it is. So basically, here's how it works. So all we do is we drive traffic from whatever traffic sources are our main traffic sources. For us, it's Facebook organic, YouTube videos, and then Facebook ads. And so everything that we do to drive traffic, we just drive it straight into the community. The community has membership questions, and once people join, they have to answer those questions. That is where we generate the lead, we capture their information, and then we push it into our GoHighLevel account. Okay, so they join our free community. Inside the free community, in addition to emailing our list and nurturing them through emails and text messages, we also are able to nurture them inside of the free community. So you get an extra benefit of being able to have another platform that you own, that you're not renting from all of the different social media channels. You own that platform, and you can build the audience on your own platform and nurture those people there. So you can build that know, like, and trust a lot faster there, because we are in a trust recession. And so having that community, also having the extra benefit of all the people engaging in the community, trying to accomplish the same mission, that is going to help you to build your trust and authority. All right. And then inside of the free community, we have a bunch of different mechanisms that we use with our GoHighLevel account, with the things that are inside the community, to get people on a discovery call. Now, once we get them on a discovery call, we have a simple conversation with those people. Again, we've built a lot of know, like, and trust. They're not cold anymore. And now we have a simple conversation to see if they have a problem that we can help them solve. And if we can, then we determine, what's their current situation, what's their budget, how fast do they want to move. If there's somebody that has a little bit more money and they want to move a little bit faster and they want more access to you, we can sell them into the high ticket. If they want to move a little bit slower, they want to do it on their own, then we can downsell them into a paid community or some other type of course, okay? And so that is how the community funnel works. Now let me actually show you what happens when somebody actually comes into the community that we're doing to actually get people to book calls. All right, so now let me give you a quick overview of what happens when someone joins the community and the system inside the community that works to get those people on a phone call so that we can sell them into our high ticket or downsell them into our paid community. And I have a video that goes way more in depth on what I'm about to show you, so I'll drop the link to that video in the description, but let's walk through this. So the first thing that happens when somebody joins our free community is they have to answer our membership questions. On those membership questions, we're capturing their contact information, their email, their phone number, and then we're sending that into our CRM. And then we have two different workflows in the CRM, and I'll show you those in just a second, that are working to book calls. We've got an email workflow, and then we also have an SMS workflow. Now, with Skool, you also have the ability to send a automated direct message. GHL does not have that currently, but I'm sure that's coming down the line. So either way, whether you're sending it manually or automatically, then we're going to send those people a DM and we're going to work to book a call from that using that tool. And then also inside of the community, you can have a classroom area where you basically store your courses and your members will have access to those courses. Every single course, every lesson in every single course has a call to action to book a call. So that's another opportunity for us to put that call to action in front of them. We also have a pinned post, and this is probably one of the keys to why we're booking so many calls is our call positioning. So if you join our free community, you can kind of see how we position our phone call. But we position it as a pure value call, which it is, and we add so much benefit, make it sound so good that I honestly think people would pay for this call if we wanted to charge for it. So check out, join our free community, come see what our call booking post looks like. Also, every day we're adding value to the community, and we also always have a call to action on those value posts that we post inside the community. So all those different mechanisms are working together to book calls. Now we actually track this. We created tracking links for all these different mechanisms that I just showed you, and we found that all of these mechanisms contribute to the overall number of calls that we book each month, and we're averaging on 80 calls per month with this system here. So we know that all these mechanisms work together to book those calls. Some of them work better than others, but they still all contribute. All right, so I showed you how the video sales letter funnel works and the webinar funnel works. Let's talk about the community funnel, how that works. All right, so basically you have a landing page on your community. Again, our Snapshot works with pretty much any community platform, whether it's Skool, GoHighLevel, Circle, any of the platforms. But basically what we do is we drive all of our traffic to our About Us page. Typically we're promoting either a lead magnet or a free course. We drive it to the About Us page. GoHighLevel has a very similar About Us page. And then with the copy here and the images, maybe even a video sales letter here, we get people to join our free community. So they click this button, the membership questions pop up, and we're collecting email and we're collecting phone number so that we can push this lead into the CRM. Same thing with GoHighLevel. If we click on the join group here, and we would collect the phone number here. Now, you're automatically collecting, if you're using GoHighLevel, then you're automatically collecting that person's email address because they have to create a profile before they can join your community. So you're automatically collecting that email address. You don't want to throw away that question, but we can collect the phone number here. So now we can send text and email. All right, so now we've generated the lead with the membership questions. Now we've got them into the CRM. Let's show you how we're going to follow up with those leads to book calls. All right, so I'm back in automations here in the CRM, and if I go scroll down, we're going to see the free community workflows here. I'm going to click in there, and then we have the free community launch and nurture workflow. So I'm going to click into here. So basically, we have a few different workflows in here. This first one is the free community launch sequence. So this is a sequence of texts and emails that you're going to send out to your list, your warm list, to invite them into your new community and launch the community. All right. We also have some AI tools that help you to write all of that content. So we have that inside of our paid community, which also comes with the Snapshot. All right. So the next thing that we are going to do once they've actually filled out those membership questions though and joined the community is we want to nurture them with email, and then we also want to try to use SMS to book calls. Both of these are trying to book calls, but the first one is an email sequence, and we're sending them, these are the exact emails that we send in our own business to our community members. And so there are 3 goals with that email sequence basically. First of all, we want to drive them back in the community and try to get them engaged right off the bat, because if we don't get them engaged in the very beginning, it's really hard to get them engaged down the road. So that's one of the first goals. The next goal is to actually get them to book a call. So again, we have very strong positioning for our call. I think we could actually charge for it if we wanted to. And so we are booking a lot of calls with this email sequence. And then the third goal of that email sequence is to drive them back into the community to consume our course content, which also has call to actions like we talked about earlier, to try to book calls with those people, build know, like, and trust, and try to book calls. So that is the email sequence, and that is actually coming from the community or the main coach. Now our SMS sequence is coming from a different person. It's like an assistant, a customer success manager, a community manager, or a salesperson that's trying to, first of all, make sure that they got the resource that they came in for. And we try to get them to respond like, hey, just wanted to make sure that you got the resource that you came for. Did you get it? And then get them to respond. And then we follow that up with trying to book that call. Again, we have very strong positioning for our call. And this is one of our best mechanisms for booking those calls. So again, this one's coming from the community, this one's coming from a separate person, all right? And so both of these work together to book calls, and that is how we are initially nurturing people when they first come into the community funnel. So we talked about the 3 lead generation funnels that are going to help you to generate leads. We talked about the lead magnet funnel or the call booking funnel. We talked about the webinar funnel, and then we talked about my favorite funnel, which is the community funnel. So that's going to help you to generate the lead. And then we showed you a couple of different workflows for each of those funnels that are going to initially nurture those leads, so like 5 to 7 emails. But what do we do to continuously nurture those people? Well, I'm going to show you a couple of different options, one of which we've got built into the actual workflow or the snapshot itself. So if I scroll down here and I click on this long-term nurture, if I click on this, you can see that we've got 2 workflows in here. We've got a 27 email sequence here and another 27 email sequence here. So basically, when somebody finishes those short-term nurture sequences, you can add them to this 27 email nurture sequence, and then when it's done with that nurture sequence, it's going to move into this next 27 email nurture sequence. So that's 54 emails that you can drip out. I think it's set to drip out over like 12 weeks. So that's great. You're going to continuously nurture your leads. You're going to try to get them to book a call if they haven't booked a call yet. So how do you actually write this content? Well, I'll show you how to get access to the snapshot later, but when you do get the snapshot, you'll also get access to this tool called GrowthWorks. GrowthWorks is pretty cool because you can create a ton of different content assets after filling out 2 simple questionnaires. So the content, the campaign planner, and the product roadmap, and that's going to basically be information that you're going to tell the system about your product and your service and your offer, okay? So once you filled out those 2 questionnaires, you can come in here and you can start creating content assets. So let me create an asset here, and the 2 assets that we're going to be creating just really quickly is the Ninja Nurture sequence here, and then the Ninja Nurture expansion sequence. If that looks familiar, that is the 2 sequences that are built into the snapshot. So to create the content for those, we're going to fill out those 2 questionnaires, and then we're going to come in here once that's done, and we're going to launch the Ninja Nurture sequence. That's going to write those first 27 emails so that you can just copy and paste those into the workflow. And it's all going to be written around your offer, your product, your service. And then once that's created, I can come in here and I can create another asset, click continue, and I'll scroll down and I will launch the Ninja Nurture expansion sequence. So now within seconds, I've created 54 emails that are going to nurture my leads over a span of 12 weeks. All right, so up to this point, we've shown you the 3 funnels in the snapshot that are going to help you to generate leads. We showed you how we're going to short-term nurture those leads with our 5 to 7 email workflows that we showed you earlier. And then we showed you the 54 email nurture sequence that's going to nurture them over a 12-week period, and the tools that are going to help you to create that so you don't have to write it from scratch. Now, the next step of our process is we actually have to get people to book a call, and then we need to get them to show up for that call. All right, so let's show you how we're going to do that with the snapshot. Now, if I scroll down, I'm in automations again. If I scroll down to the very bottom, we've got our sales and personal call calendars. Now, we have two types of calendars in here for sales calls and just booking for yourself. So we've got the sales call calendars, which are actually attached to tracking that's going to track people in our sales process. So let me show you what that looks like. So this is our pipeline that's going to track people, our leads, as they move through our sales process. So when we capture a new lead from one of those funnels, or they join our free community funnel, then they're going to come into one of these two stages. Once they book on our discovery call calendar, we'll talk about that in just a second, they're going to move automatically to this stage. And then once that call is happening, what you want to do is come into the pipeline and you want to drag them to the appropriate stage based on how that call, the result of that call. Did they cancel or no-show? Then you're going to drag them into one of these stages. If they showed up and the call was completed, you want to drag them to this stage. Now, dragging them into the call, the canceled or the no-show stage, is going to automatically put them into the workflows that I'm going to show you in just a second. That's going to try to get them to rebook that call. All right. Now, if you're doing a 2-call close, which means you have a discovery call, which is like a 30-minute call, where you're really trying to see if that one person's qualified to book another longer strategy session where you're actually going to try to close them, then you can use all of the stages that I'm showing you right here, or you can just delete these stages if you're doing a 1-call close, which means you're just getting people on a call and trying to close them on that call. Okay. Now, if you do a 2-call close, we have another calendar where they can book the strategy call, and they're automatically going to go into this stage. And then again, you're going to come into the pipeline and you're going to drag them into the appropriate stage based on the result of that call. Did they cancel or no-show that call? Then we're going to drag them to cancel or no-show, and that's going to automatically put them into the workflows to try to get them to rebook the strategy session. And if they did show and the call was complete, we're going to move them to strategy call complete. By doing that, that's going to give you great reporting inside of GoHighLevel. That's going to help you to know where are the bottlenecks in your sales call process. Are people showing up? Are they not showing up? And if they aren't showing up, what can we do to fix it? And then once that call is over, then you can move them to hold or nurture if they're not quite ready to move forward, but they're a good fit. You can move them to deposit if you take deposits and they put a deposit down. If you have a paid community, low ticket paid community, you can move them and they actually close, then you can move them to join the paid community. If you're selling high ticket, then you can move them to closed one. So that's how we're tracking people as they move through our sales process. Now, let me go back to the automations for the call calendars here and show you we've got the sales call calendars, which are the discovery and the strategy session, which I showed you are tracked in that pipeline. And then we have the personal call calendars, which is just if you want to do one-off calls that aren't tracked in your sales call process. You want to book with a client, you want to book with a friend or a JV partner, you can do it with these personal call calendars and it won't be tracked in that pipeline. So let's actually go into the sales call calendars here. Now, all of these workflow folders here have the same 4 workflows inside them. We have the call reminders workflow, which you're going to send text and email to, first of all, confirm that they booked their call and then remind them multiple times so that they show up to the call. And that's going to remind them with text and email. And then if they cancel or no-show, if you move them to these different stages over here, then that's going to automatically put them into these workflows to try to get them to rebook that call. And then if you drag them over to complete, this workflow is actually going to mark them as showed so that you've got really good reporting all the way through that sales call process. So that is how we're going to book calls with people and get them to actually show up for those calls. So those are just a few of the highlights that are going to help you to grow your coaching business. But if you want to get a full demo of what's inside the snapshot, then I'm going to drop a link in the description and you can actually book a call with me personally and I'll walk you through everything that's in the snapshot. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.